It is now being reported that President Trump would like to send the National Guard troops to every major city in the United States. There are some issues with that from both Republicans and Democrats, but there's a funding problem as well. We're going to get to that in today's video. But I want to show you this clip because right now there are millions of people that are panicking because they are seeing National Guard troops in their city. Look at this.
A red alert for the country as federal troops enter more American cities, and Donald Trump suggests that some American citizens are, quote, enemies.
Okay, that is a very, very powerful statement that President Trump says some American citizens are enemies. That's a concern.
Today, Trump claimed that the National Guard is now, quote, in place in Portland, Oregon. This despite local on-the-ground reporting that National Guard deployment has actually been delayed amid legal challenges. Also today, federal troops are on the ground in Memphis, Tennessee. And Missouri's Republican governor has authorized the National Guard to assist ICE with deportations across the state.
One of the things you're going to see over the next several months is we are going to see National Guard troops entering into different states, some of which are going to allow the National Guard troop and inviting them in, like Missouri. But then you're going to have some specific states or cities like Portland, Oregon, that do not want the National Guard there. Seattle, Washington does not want the National Guard. Los Angeles, California, they do not want National Guard troops on or in their city. That's what they're saying. Let's keep listening to this.
All of this comes, of course, just months after Donald Trump deployed troops to Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. And it comes just one day after Trump tried to justify domestic military action.
One thing that you need to keep in mind that when President Trump sent the National Guard troops to Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., this actually lowered the crime rate. That is the one statistic that he's looking at, and he's determining that this is a successful mission. What he sent the National Guard troops into these cities for, it worked. That's why he's considering doing it again. I want to read something to you, okay? I want to read you a message that I received. This person wrote to me. This is somebody that I've spoken with before, and they have they have some inside information, okay? I'll just say that. First, this is what they said. First off, and I quote, "Feel free to share this. First of all, Republicans aren't only trying to protect ICE facilities, even though that is what President Trump said. We want to protect all cities from threats, both small and large. We want to ensure that every American feels safe in our country. I wouldn't be surprised to see the National Guard troops in every major city across the United States in the matter of months. However, this would require additional funding that right now might be difficult to get." That's what this person had to say. I want to play you one last thing. Look at this right here.
To San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. They're very unsafe places, and we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war, too. It's a war from within. We should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard. It's the enemy from within, and we have to handle it before it gets out of control.
Okay, it's a war from within. His exact words. This is something that we have known, that there was going to be a fight between the Trump administration and not just the American citizens, not just the people of this country, but from governors, mayors, they're all fighting back. But look at this right here, okay? This is where things are going to start to shift because some mayors and some governors were telling President Trump, no, we don't want your help. We don't need your help. Stay out of our city. But then you got people like this. It says Republican governor asked the Pentagon to deploy National Guard troops to Louisiana. I want to read this to you. It says right here, evidently some cities in Louisiana are joining the growing club, the New York Times reported. Governor Jeff Landry of Louisiana had asked the Trump administration to deploy as many as 1,000 National Guard troops to his state, embracing the president's push to use troops to fight crime. In a letter to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on Monday, the Republican governor asked for the troops from Louisiana to help with ongoing public safety concerns regarding high crime rates. He's not asking them to come in and assist with ICE operations. He's asking them specifically to help with ongoing public safety concerns regarding high crime rates. According to a report, according to some data, it is saying that if you put a military person, a police officer at a street corner, okay, just at a street corner, one person, whether it's a military personnel or a police officer, somebody with some authority, that you will see the crime rate in that area drop. And I believe it was by like 50%. Okay? So it's a substantial drop. That's what many of these governors are wanting. That's what many city officials say is needed, especially in places of high crime. And we've seen the different lists of the 25 most dangerous or highest crime-ridden cities. We've seen those lists before. So is this something that President Trump is going to do? Well, some say the answer is yes. Some say it's no, but it's only a matter of time. Now, look at this. It says National Guard now in place for Oregon amid chaos, death, and destruction. Oregon Military Department confirms 200 troops deployed under federal authority to the city. So what we are now hearing is that the federal government is going to send more National Guard troops to these different cities. What the cities are, when they're coming, those are the answers we just don't have yet. But my guess is President Trump is going to fill us in on that information very soon. The one thing that the one person said, okay, is that if President Trump wants more troops to go to some major U.S. cities, it's going to require additional funding. And we know that. Right now is the problem because right now the United States government is shut down. So only essential workers, okay, only those deemed essential to the pretty much the operation of the United States, right, the function, daily functions, those are the ones that are still working but without pay. My guess is, okay, that when they go over this and when they agree to a bill, my guess is there's going to be something in there that's going to allow President Trump to send more National Guard troops to these cities. Because you can do it under federal law, you can do it under state law, but here's the issue. Once the federal government pulls out, it puts the responsibility on the state to continue to pay for these troops. Many states aren't going to be able to do that. As a result, or some states will not pay for them because they don't want them there anyway. So once the federal government pulls out and puts the responsibility on the state's not going to pay, meaning they're just going to send the troops away. And eventually crime will come back. At least that's what we're hearing from all these different reports. But as of today, that's what we know. There's a lot of concern. Some say this is a red alert, that the United States is not ready for this. But it may be necessary to bring down the amount of crime here in the U.S. So we'll see what happens moving forward, but that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.